Hello everyone, it's Alise A Préjéan of knowthyselfandheal.com, and today is the full moon in Aquarius. It's occurring at 19 degrees and some minutes of Aquarius, and of course, as you likely know, a full moon always means that the moon is opposing the sun, and so the sun is also at 19 degrees and some minutes. So you can look to see where this is happening in your chart, whatever houses this is occurring. And so where the sun is in Leo and where the moon is in Aquarius, this axis of consciousness based on the houses that this is happening in is where you're likely experiencing this completion. And full moons do really bring forth completions, but especially this full moon, because this full moon is actually in a completing conjunction to Saturn. So it's also called a balsamic conjunction to Saturn. So a completing conjunction is really bringing completions. Interestingly, Saturn is the planetary guide to the full moon, one of the two planetary guides, because Saturn and Uranus are both planetary guides to Aquarian consciousness. Also interesting that Uranus is squaring the sun and the moon in this full moon chart today. And so, therefore, in the sky and in our own psychological development, our own psyches, and in our own charts, right? So these are some interesting aspects that are happening there that actually are likely having potentially unexpected emotional release or emotional completion, or some kind of completions that are quickening the completions that need to happen in regards to our own values and being up to date with our own values, as Uranus is in Taurus, and how, Uranus in Taurus has been really assisting us to cultivate a new sense of self-trust and self-value and resources and resourcing ourselves and creating new structures in reality that are going to be laying foundations for our newest becomings, right? More current becoming, more current identities, because we have had so many chapters of our lives actually come to completion through the last few years with the transits we've been experiencing. So the moon in this balsamic conjunction to Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn is retrograde, is really helping us likely to have these completions emotionally in regards to how we really want to share our love, how we want to share our gifts in the world. And so this full moon is actually occurring right in between the two eclipse seasons. So if you've been following me or you've been following astrology and the astrological transits, you likely already know that the nodes of the moon are in Taurus and Scorpio. So this is where we're having our eclipses these days. And we had these eclipses in Taurus, Scorpio in April and May of this year, 2022. And then the next set of eclipses that we're going to have is a new moon solar eclipse on October 25th of 2022, and also a full moon lunar eclipse on November 8th of 2022. And I find those eclipses interesting because there's kind of this theme occurring with the moon and with Uranus, because at the November 8th eclipse, the moon is going to be balsamic in a completing conjunction to Uranus. So this full moon, being that it's in Aquarius, Uranus's sign, and Saturn's sign as well, it feels to me like this is very much connected to what's been occurring in this these most recent eclipses that we experienced, as well as how that's bridging us into the next set of eclipses and the completions that are likely happening, particularly with this full moon, because the moon is balsamic to Saturn and because Uranus is squaring the moon and the sun. And, a square is going to likely have us having sudden moments of tension, because squares typically do bring experiences where we're feeling this tension between two how do I say it? Like two different parts of our experience. So let's just say this tension between what we've already been doing in the past, and then yet where we're going in the future, where we're actually moving towards in our consciousness. And this tension is really to provide the momentum, the pressure to actually move on to this new path. Because it's Uranus squaring the sun and the moon, this is particularly accentuated because Uranus is always about, quickening our consciousness into integrating something new, something brilliant, something, very different in our consciousness that we haven't quite grasped yet. And remember that Uranus is the part of the brain that can really grasp so much more than the conscious mind, because it is very much related to the past, present, future. It can traverse all time and space. This is the part of our consciousness that, again, our ego doesn't always completely get, and this is the thing, is the ego is fully developed in Leo, and that's why the ego is related to Leo consciousness. It's because by the time that we've reached Leonian consciousness, as we're psychologically developing, we've really come to understand that we are a separate being with our own special destiny. What I mean by separate being is separate than our parents or our family of origin, right? We've come into this psychological development that, like, I'm another entity than my mother. I'm not the same entity as my mother or my father. And so I have my own destiny. I have my own special, unique contribution of light to bring to the world. What is that? What is it going to be? And it's through the exploration of play and the exploration of trying on different things, right, that we get to experience that and then, cultivate that through our life. So now, Aquarius is about being unique and being different and being that unique divine child, bringing this unique creative self-actualization into the world. And this is the thing, is we're always developing, right? The thing is, too, is that the ego isn't always, it's not conscious of more than what's created thus far, and then also providing the container of experience so that we can experience anything, right? So there's this, and this is how, the way I see it, this is how, like, the sun in Leo, sun rules Leo, opposes the Aquarian consciousness of Saturn and Uranus. And remember, Saturn's the container. So the ego is this part of us that wants to make sure that we have a container, that we are safe, that our bodies are safe. And this is the square from Taurus to Scorpio, like making sure that, we're embodied Taurus energy, our body, we have our essential needs met, the body's needs are met. And so the ego is very much centered around what is really conscious. But we also know that it squares Scorpio and the unconscious, right? And so there is all this unconscious stuff that's going on that actually is providing evolutionary momentum and growth through the ego. And so though the ego desires to keep us safe, often it can, or we can, have to contend with, this feels unsafe because it's something I don't know, or haven't known yet. But as we mature, which is a Saturn component, as we emotionally mature and we mature in life, we recognize that we can really hold and harness this empowerment and evolutionary momentum. And that there is so much that we don't know about our own path. And there is so much more that we're going to be integrating over time, the way that we experience time. But this is really just momentum and consciousness, right? So Uranus is the part of us that actually can really, that does access all space and time and our personal evolutionary path that's beyond what the ego is conscious of at all times, right? Uranus brings us those insights when we need them. And this is, I believe, so that we don't get flooded with too much information. We're able to focus, right? And so the ego can focus. But Uranus, through transits, will bring us these Uranian insights and these aha moments, and where we're actually recognizing that there's something coming for us, or something that we're going to be developing into that is completely like far out, and that can be far out in time and space, but it can also be just in ideas and brilliance and this newest becoming that seems kind of, sometimes like so unique and different than what we've done before, or what we've experienced even in others right before. But it does bring these aha moments, because it's the part of our brain that does understand a much bigger perspective on our own evolutionary trajectory. So Uranus being square to the full moon and the sun, right? This can be bringing us insights and aha moments, as well as unpredictable or unpredicted energies and emotions and experiences that are actually really designed to move us forward into directions that our ego may not completely understand yet. So be aware of that, and just know that it is actually setting us up for this next eclipse season. And because that moon is going to be in a bosomic conjunction to Uranus at the November eclipse, I really think that what's happening for us now is a bridge to the completion, this emotional completion of what we're building and embodying based on our new values that we're embodying once we come to that November 8th eclipse. Another thing I wanted to let you know about is that Venus is at 0 degrees of Leo. And so, interestingly, what will happen then is Venus will continue to move and trine Jupiter retrograde in Aries, and then trine Chiron retrograde in Aries. And so I really feel this is going to be a nice energy of really recognizing, valuing what it is we desire to embody and the light we desire to contribute and that we value. And where is it that our belief structures from the past aren't really supporting that now? So are there beliefs about our own identity and about who we are becoming that are really actually outdated to who we are currently, what we currently value, what we currently desire to bring forth in our experience and in the world, right? And so that is an interesting piece in the energies happening right now. Also, what's going to happen is that Mars is just about to exact trine Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. So remember that Mars is always acting on behalf of our newest initiations of evolutionary momentum. So it always acts on behalf of what's unconscious. Pluto, right? Pluto's retrograde in Capricorn. So what internal structures of reality and the way that we see reality, the way we've structured our consciousness, the way we've structured our own emotional security, what is it that needs to be actually cut away or detached from? Because Mars is always about detaching or cutting away, or, really in order to go after what one sees as empowering in the moment. Mars, Pluto, right? Sometimes we have to detach from what isn't empowering us in the moment. And so this energy can likely come very easily after this full moon. So whatever is occurring, I just won't be surprised if we find that in the coming days, we find that we've had experiences that are informing us to know what needs to be cut away and where we need to apply our action, where we need to apply our energy to get where we're going, to actually become the identity that we are aiming for. And, again, remember that Mars is the planetary guide to Aries energy, this initiating something new in our identity. And because Venus is going to be trining that Jupiter retrograde and then trining the Chiron retrograde in Aries, this is going to likely, have us, as I said, severing potentially beliefs or belief systems that are not resonant with our values now, or don't align us with our values. And then also remember that it is important to take that Mars action and actually really apply your yang masculine energy towards building what you desire out in the world, because it also really helps to align ourselves internally with what we actually really value, and actually creating this emotional security of this Capricorn consciousness, so that we can build the reality out in the world that we desire to build, and the identity that we have found ourselves now inspired to become, as Uranus has been in Taurus, in upgrading our values and our resources and our needs, our essential needs, and what is current for us in regards to our essential needs. And again, I just want to reiterate, I think I've said this in other videos, that it is so important that we act upon our own essential needs, because this is how we can be in true alignment with our own empowerment in our own evolutionary trajectory in this lifetime and our current identity. So it's very important, because as Chiron is in Aries, this, if we are not taking the actions that are in alignment with our current identity and our current values, we can actually be creating a wound to our own identity and a fragmentation of our own consciousness, because we are not congruent with our internal reality and the external reality. So what we're actually acting upon, and then what our real beliefs are about, that are our personal beliefs, and that actually support our desires and support our own evolutionary inclinations and inspirations, right? So this is an interesting full moon, and I think that, whatever is coming up for us, remembering that tension always regenerates energy. So I shouldn't say regenerates. Regenerate is more Pluto, okay? But tension generates energy. Remember that. So as we might be feeling tension, what do we want to do with the energy that it's generating? And we can actually apply that energy that the tension generates towards that which we desire to create, and towards that which actually support what we really believe for ourselves, what we really value for ourselves, and how that supports this new identity that is emerging now. So I hope this is helpful. And if you like this video, please do like it. You're welcome to share it. And it would be lovely to have you as a subscriber. If you feel inclined to subscribe to my channel, I'll be coming back with more videos. And if you have any insights, thoughts, questions, I'd love to hear. It's always fun to interact. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.